Welcome to day 57 of 66 and 26. We're beginning week 9 of our journey through all 66 books of the Bible. It is Monday, which means Pentateuch Day, the first 5 books of the Bible on Mondays. We're back in the book of Genesis, beginning at chapter 31. And today's chapters are marked by a mix of conflict and reconciliation. There's conflict between Jacob and his father-in-law Laban, and then a reconciliation, kind of a surprising reconciliation between the two of them. And then there's this ongoing conflict, which Jacob has a bit of anxiety about with his twin brother Esau, whom he deceived earlier on before he fled from the land of promise to meet up with Laban, and then married Laban's daughters Rachel and Leah and so on. And Jacob has some anxiety about that reconciliation with Esau, coming back to the land where Esau lives. And he even prepares an elaborate gift with loads of livestock as a gift to Esau to hopefully appease him, and so that Esau would receive him. But before Jacob can even present his gift, Esau already comes and embraces him and receives him as a loving brother. And so we see this reconciliation between Jacob and Esau also. And right in the middle of these chapters we're reading today is a section which Martin Luther called the most obscure verses in the entire Bible. It's in Genesis 32, where Jacob wrestles with God. And you read this short account of a man showing up who is obviously God in the flesh and wrestling with Jacob. And you wonder, what is going on here? Because God could very easily just dismiss Jacob. He could squash him in a nanosecond, and yet he allows him to wrestle him all night and then to hold on to him and grasp him and not let him go until he gives a blessing. And why would God do all this? Well, obviously, God is more powerful than Jacob. He is all powerful, and Jacob is weak by comparison. And all God has to do is touch Jacob's hip, and he has a permanent limp afterwards. So what's going on here? I think what God allows in this short episode is an outward manifestation of what is going on in Jacob's spirit. For a long time, Jacob has trusted in his own ways, his own scheming, his own way of finding solutions to the problems before him. And now Jacob is matured and he's grown, and God has worked through him to be much more dependent on God. And we start to see in these chapters Jacob demonstrating a dependence on the Lord rather than his own strength or ingenuity. And so right in the midst of that story of Jacob wrestling with God is God changing Jacob's name. And it is a name that shows this change in Jacob's spirit. He is no longer the deceiver or heel grabber. He is now one who wrestles with God, one who trusts in God. And we see that. So he has changed, his name has changed from Jacob to Israel. And now for the rest of the Bible, we're going to see the nation that is named after Jacob is known as Israel. Although that name Jacob will still arise and used as a synonym for the nation of Israel, all that the people, all the descendants that come after Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob will now be called Israel, because that demonstrates a trust in the Lord and the Lord's blessing upon that nation.